Hello and welcome to your first of many of a series of video lectures that we're going to do on Friday. What I'm going to try to do today is I'm going to try to pick up where we left off on Wednesday with regards to marketing strategies, strat plans, etc. At the end of the video lecture there will be 4 or 5 discussion questions. Please make sure you answer those discussion questions and turn them in to me on Monday when we meet. Until then, I'm going to continue on with marketing strategies and strategic plan. So with that, let's get started. So we left off with you guys doing a SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis are extremely important, and we are going to go over the SWOT analysis when we get together on Monday. And SWOT analysis are very important for not only marketing plan, but all types of positioning and product positioning and everything else. Now I'm going to talk to you about some other models that are used with regards to market positioning, marketing plan, and also strategic planning. And the first one I want to talk to you about is the STP model. STP model is used really for identifying and evaluating market opportunities. S stands for segmentation, T stands for targeting, and P stands for positioning, the STP model. So say you got a product. Well, the first thing you've got to do is you've got to decide or define who are you going to sell it to. So you might say, I'm going to sell it to millennials, or I'm going to sell it to Generation Xers, or I'm going to sell it to Gen Z, or I'm going to sell it to a specific type of market, etc. So you got to define that first, and that's part of the S, is segmenting your market into a reasonable target. Now, with that being said, there are some products out there that there is no segmentation, and we call that global segmentation, or they go to the market the same way regardless. One of them would be Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola goes to the market with the same recipe the same way on a worldwide basis. They really don't do a whole lot of segmenting because everybody uses the Coke the same way. They use it as a refreshing drink. Apple and their iPhone oftentimes goes to market the same way because it's used the same way. The product is used the same way regardless of what country you're in, regardless of how old you are, etc. Yes, some will use it for social media more than they would use it for, say, telephone or for email, but it's still used in that particular fashion. So there is such thing as global segmentation. But for the most part, most products have to be segmented into a specific target. Then the second one is targeting those people or selecting that segmentation. So the first thing you do is segment your market into different type of subgroups. Then you target that market into what you think would be the most advantageous to your product. And it might be a small niche market, it might be a large market, it might be a number of different segments. It doesn't matter as long as you're targeting those and saying, these are the ones I'm going to attack. You could also have different segments, and you could have different price points for those segments. For instance, you might have a different price point and a different size for one segment, and you might have a different price point or a different size for another segment, depending on how you're going to do it and what you're going to do. Take a look at Coca-Cola. You know, it comes in 2 liters for family size because they're going to drink the whole 2 liter in one sitting. It also comes in individual cans. It comes in all types of different sizes and things for really different markets, even though it's a global segmentation. And then finally, once you understand your segments, once you target those segments and decide which segment is best for your product, then finally you position your product within that. And generally speaking, you're positioning your product within that based upon where you are with regards to the competition and where you are with regards to any substitutes out there. For instance, Coca-Cola's competition would be Pepsi. Substitutes would also be things that are non-soft drink related, like lemonade, or non-carbonated drinks like lemonades, juices, and things like that. So you've got competitors, direct competitors, which would be Pepsi, and then you also have what we call substitutes, which would be lemonades, which would be energy drinks, and those types of things as substitutes. So that's your STP model.
With the STP model, what we're trying to do is we're trying to understand our segment and understand our target. Once we do that, then we implement our marketing mix using value or value creation. First one, product. Generally speaking, we're trying to create value through quality. We're trying to create value through distinction. We're trying to create value either through the physical nature or the service in which it brings. For instance, your product is not necessarily just your product. It also entices the service that you bring along with it. We talked about the last time we were together a cell phone. A cell phone is a paperweight unless you have service to go with it. So product not only encompasses the physical product, but it also encompasses the services, etc. So you're trying to create value with your product. With your price, you're trying to capture value. We're trying to bring value given a particular price point. So with price, we're trying to capture value. With place, we're trying to deliver value. We're trying to make sure that it's easy for someone to get it. We're trying to make it convenient for someone to get it. There's a lot of different distribution strategies. There's a general distribution strategy where it's distributed everywhere. Coca-Cola, for instance. And then there's selective distribution where it's only distributed at specific places. Alex and Ani jewelry is only distributed in specific places. Tiffany jewelry is only distributed at specific places. Some clothiers will only distribute at specific places. We call that selective distribution. We're trying to create value and we're trying to create esteem through that selection and through that delivery process. And then finally, with promotion, we're trying to communicate value. We're trying to tell people that we have value. We're trying to have them understand the value that we have in our product, our price, and our place. And we're trying to make sure that we're communicating that to our target market, to our market segmentation, so that we can more easily penetrate that particular product or that particular segment. So product and value creation, like I said, successful products are those that are perceived valuable by the customer given what they have to give up for it. For instance, you could have a low quality, low price product and people would perceive value in that even though it's low quality because they have to give up less for that. So really in product, you're talking about value given what you want it for, given what you need, and given what you have to give up for it. Which leads us right into price. Price amounts must allow for perception of goods and opportunity cost of goods, what you need to give up to get it. So, for instance, time is an opportunity cost. If you've got to spend a lot of time shopping for something, sometimes you won't buy it. So, convenience products are those products that are oftentimes by the checkout aisle or something like that. They don't take a lot of time to buy. They're very low cost. And people see value in that because they don't have an opportunity cost. Customers perceive value based on what they have to give up in order to get it. That price also comes with status. So there's psychographic segmentation. For instance, a Cadillac or a Mercedes-Benz or a Lexus are high priced. You're getting a car, but you're also getting a mystique with it. You're getting a psychographic segmentation along with that. And then finally, as I said, value through delivery. Making it readily accessible or making it not readily accessible. There's a certain mystique about Tiffany jewelry. There's a certain mystique about things that are not mass distributed and are selective distributed. People have that sometimes people hold them in a higher regard because there's selective distribution of those products. And that makes fine jewelry, some fine clothiers, etc. For instance, Armani suits. You can't go into a Walmart and buy an Armani suit. You can't go into a Men's Warehouse and buy an Armani suit. Armani suits are very selectively distributed. They're also extraordinarily expensive, but they are very sought after because of their selective distribution, because of the mystique around the selective distribution. And I just want to let you know that I will never own Armani suit. I can't afford it. So promotion, there's all types of way of communicating the value you have. There is digital communication through social media, through the internet, etc. There is what we call traditional media, television, radio, magazines, billboards, newspapers, all those types of things, direct mail. Those are what's traditional media. We have digital media. You have alternative media, things like ads on the back of an airline seat, or ads that are running on TVs in places like Walmart's or Sam's Goods or BJ's Warehouse. There's all types of different alternative types of promotional aspects, and we're going to get that into that much heavier as we talk about promotion later on in the semester. However, suffice it to say that you can certainly bring value through promotion. What you have here is the BCG matrix. BCG matrix is made up of stars, question marks, cash cows, and dogs. If you have a high market share in a high growth area in a product, that would be a star. If you have high market share in a very low market growth area, that would be a question mark. If you have a high market share in a very low growing market, that would be a cash cow. And then if you have low market share in a low growing market, that would be a dog. For instance, let's take Disney. All right. Disney's stars right now would be their theme parks. It's high market share. They've got a very high market share. Theme parks are growing at about 13% per year. They have a high market share in a very high growing area. So Disney's stars are in their theme parks. That's a star for them. Disney stars are also in their movies. The new movies they come out with, the Pixar's, etc. Movies are still a very high growing marketplace, and they have a very high share. Disney is a question mark in the digital marketplace, in their apps and in their things that create apps for kids, digital playgrounds for children. It's a growing area, but Disney does not compete as well as other apps like Subway Surfers, Candy Crush, those types of things. Disney is not competing well in that. Although it's a high growth market, they have low share. And so that's a question mark. A cash cow would be the Disney princess. You've got Cinderella, Snow White, Ariel, and Sleeping Beauty. They're all low growing. They're growing at a very low rate, but Disney owns that market, and they're sucking a lot of money off of those for princess models. So their cash cow would be the Disney princesses. Every now and then they bring out a new movie form or what have you, but that market for the Disney princesses hasn't grown in a while, yet they're still making a ton of money from lunch boxes, backpacks, and all those types of things. So they're milking it like a cash cow. A dog for Disney would be something that they've got low share in that's not growing. Can't even think of one right now. If anybody can think of one, bring it up on Monday, because I don't really know what a dog for Disney would be. But anyways, that's the BCG matrix that I just talked about, Boston Consulting Group matrix. You've got stars, you've got question marks, cash cows, and dogs. Make sure you know that, because this is going to be covered on the next test. The BCG matrix is extraordinarily important when we're talking about market plan. So the next model we're going to talk about is what we call Porter's model. Porter's model has to do with how we go to market. If the product is a current product or a new product, or whether the market is a new market or a current market. So for instance, if you've got a current product, a product that you're already making in a current market, say Apple and the iPhone, what you want to do is market penetration. That means gain share. You want to grow share within that market. You want to penetrate that market through a share. Now let's say you've got a new product in a current market. Let's say that you are new a new phone provider, Ron Sicker's phone. Well, what I want to do is I want to develop a new product into that current market. Apple might do that with, say, the Apple Watch, or a new product within a current market in which it already existed. Let's say you have a current product in a new market. So you've got a current product and you want to do a new market for it. An example of that would be baking soda. I know that's a weird example, but baking soda, a current product, the new market would have been to make your refrigerator smell better or take odors out of your refrigerator. So they took a current product and developed a new market with it. And then finally, if there's a new market and it's a new product, you want to diversify. You want to try to attack that market as best you can through diversifying your product. So market development, a company can do to grow in a difficult retail or etc. market is to develop new product or develop a new market. Product development, new services and new markets into a new market or new services into a current market would be product development. So you would use a product development strategy for that. And then finally, diversification, new product or new services into a new market segmentation. Google is always diversifying into new markets and new segments. They're into phones now, they're into operating systems, they're into all types of new different markets with new different products and services. So they're continuously diversifying their portfolio. Everybody knows that Google makes most of, if not 80% of their money on their ads, on Google ads, but they also diversify into a lot of different markets, with a lot of different new products in order to keep ahead of the game. So that would be market diversification. So anyways, that will conclude this week's video lecture. I hope you enjoyed it. Please answer these discussion questions. A sentence or two for each discussion question would be great. You don't have to type them out. I'd appreciate it if you do, but you don't have to. You can turn them in on Monday when I see you. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video lecture, and I look forward to seeing you all on Monday.